Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I've got a very non-bingo-y rack, but I do have the Q with the U, which has positive value. So should I be changing? And if I do change, should I be holding on to Q and U? Tricky. I think I do have to change because I don't have any good Q plays, just Qua, which retains F, H and V. So I am going to change. And I'm going to hold on to Q, U and A. Well, no bingo, but I will be playing with this rack. I have quant. Through a U, I would have quotum, so I should have some options. Trank through an R. And if opponent changes, then I'll be able to play quant and get the Q doubled, which will be a good score. Really undecided as to whether changing or whether hanging on to Q and U is the right thing to do in that opening exchange, but it's done now. So what has opponent provided? Very little, except core takes an A. So I think I have quant down here. Quant does take an E, so I'm opening up a hotspot in row E. But if I play just Qua, then that takes an A, so I don't think I can avoid creating a hotspot. Yeah, I am going with this. Well, not great. I don't think I have a bingo here, but it's balanced and I have scoring tiles. And I have an E for equant should that remain available. And an O for going either side of the K. Quant takes an A after it. Equant just takes an S. If opponent does play in row E, a non-bingo, then he'll be burning a bingo-y tile. Okay, pretty good score, 43 points. I trail, Zep only takes an S. So, what to do here? I have flog, which keeps a vowel-heavy rack leave. Do I have anything which extends to the N? Gosh, I have fomen, but KE isn't good. Equant and Zep only take an S, so the board quite restricted. What about playing fog? 18 points, not a terrible rack leave, and giving very little away, which is of value. Do I really have no way of extending to the N? Quite a few tiles go underneath the A, L and M as well. No, I'm not seeing such a play. I am going with this. Well, too many duplicates, I think, to have a bingo here, but it's not a terrible rack. The L's, I should be able to dispose of both of them and also split up the M's. Mal and Mel are both good. Wow, nice bingo for opponent, 84 points. C only takes an H. So what to do here? I have lame for 22, which sorts the rack out. And I don't think there's terribly much else on offer. Co doesn't take anything in front. Only an H goes after the C. And lame isn't providing any floaters for opponent, and it's providing bingo lanes, which is useful since I trail. Is there anything better? No, I don't think so. I am going with this. Wow, what a pickup. I draw the blank and an S. And I think I will be bingoing. Column 12, pretty handy with the S hook for Zap. And the new link bingo lanes in row M should ensure that I bingo. So what do I have? Not seen anything so far. Be Smile and Be Slime. That works. And I'm expecting there to be quite a few candidate plays here. But just the one so far that I've spotted. Hemlines through an N. Great. Be Slime remains available. And I think I will go with this. It gets the M doubled. And, well, I trail by just 8 points, so that's worked out well. Quite a good pickup of 7 random tiles, but very few floaters on the board, just the B of Beslime and the C of Colas, and I'm not seeing anything there. However, I should be able to sort the rack out. I have Debug in column 13. Bogue is good. I wonder if I have a 6-letter play in row N. I do. I have Bodega. Wow, 45 points for opponent. That's pretty good. Hurrah takes an H at the end. So, what do I have in row O? That looks a reasonably promising lane. I would need 2 E's to go underneath the 2 R's, so I'm really looking at the middle triple word square with my O going underneath OH. So it could end OG or OGE or just O. So I think Budo is the best I can see. 27 points doesn't give much away, and not a terrible rack leave, even though it's Val heavy. Can I make this any longer? I don't think so. I'm going with this. Not a great rack. No scoring tiles. I'm not seeing a 7, and there may not be any 8s either. But if there were, it would need a floating vowel, and there aren't any. So I could play Eng in row O. I trail by 20. A bingo in column 15 could be pretty fatal. Still 1 blank and 2 S's to come. 24 for opponent. Now there is a floating A in Hurrah. Does that assist? Don't think so. So how am I going to sort this rack out? I could play Meng. 21 points. I could play Eng. 16. Tricky. Well, opponent has opened the top left of the board, which is good because P takes an E after it, so column 5, quite a handy bingo lane. What about playing Dang down here, which leaves alone column 15? Pretty decent rack leave, and I'm creating a new lane in column 14, only 21 points. But with no scoring tiles, I can't really expect anything more. I am going with this. Well, I miss the blank and the S's. I have Con G as a 6 in column 5 and in column 14. Interesting. Well, nice score for opponent. Hurrah taking a Y as well as an H and an S. So I've got a couple of ways of playing Con G. I can play it here or 1 square higher. So that's 40. That's 38. Yeah, I think the 40 spot is better. And both are better than column 5. Through an I would have ejection, but I don't think there are any floaters apart from the B, which doesn't help. And I need to keep scoring. I trail by 60. And this will increase my chances of drawing a blank. I am going with this. And I draw it. Fantastic. May only takes an S. So I have SOH in column 15, 36 points. And column 5, this really useful bingo lane, still available. No lanes for bingos ending in S at the moment. 27 for opponent. He's created a new lane in column 1 with a V and a new lane in column 2 with an O. So do I have anything ending in hood or hoods? I think if I did, the blank would be a vowel. So I'm just imagining the blank as an A, as an E. What about an I? No. 3 O's? No. And what about a U? I would have the UN ending, beginning. No, I'm not seeing anything. Now, what's opponent doing with opening void? Scoring reasonably well. Probably doesn't consider the V particularly dangerous, and he's right. Now, what I could do is open up the top of the board, 28 points, opening a new lane. My rack's pretty good. If I draw an E or an I, it's even stronger. And just generally, I'm opening more lanes, which I want to do since I trail. And this only turns over 3 tiles, which I want to do. BCH does take an A in the middle, and there are 3 to come, but the B's are blank, so it doesn't score. Yeah, I like this. I like the rack leave, only 1 N to come. I am going with this. Well, I draw a B and a W. I think Bestrone might be good, and Brownus, and Bestrone would play in column 2 at the moment. Newsbeat through an A. And, wow, Bestrone still plays if it's good. Not for very much. So, could there be a better bingo? Anything onto the D? Well, I think again the blank would need to be a vowel. Now, I would have waste bin through an A or an I. That's not available. What about an E? Newsbeat through an A. I is waste bin. O is Bestrone and Brownest. Could there be something else? Don't think so. Brownest doesn't play, so if Bestrone isn't good, I'll need to rethink. And I'm not seeing anything with the blank as a U or a Y. So let's see if this stays on. And it does. Fantastic. And I take the lead for the first time, 6 tiles in the bag, and I've got a great scoring tile in the X. So at the moment I have Ixia in column 3, and I have an A for batch. Less useful. And the V is still available, but I don't think invex is good. I think it's invexed. Exinia is, wow, is it good? Exinia? I don't think it is. It's 6-ain, which is good with the false anagram of exinias. So will Ixia remain available? Still the S hook for May. Well, no, opponent goes in my spot, scores 29 points, and leads by 5 with 2 in the bag. Wow, this is close. So I do have Vax in and Vex at the bottom of the board, which may be worth doing for score. I'm hanging on to the A for batch. Horrible rack leave. Still 4 vowels to come, but 39 points. 10 minutes on my clock, which is great. So a little bit of time to think. XO is good. So what about X here? 44 points. Stops opponent going in this spot. He can't do terribly much with the V. I could have 4 eyes next turn. So 9 minutes on my clock. Can I do any better? What about opponent's new play? That doesn't take anything in front. EF only takes, well, nothing I've got. Buy doesn't take anything I've got. Is there anywhere else for Ixia, which would avoid me having big troubles next turn? I trail by 5, and there's only one scoring tile left, the Y. Opponent could bingo. He could bingo onto the D, which Axe is not going to block. Is this the play? 3 eyes pretty grim, but the score is good, especially when we are so close. Is this best? Pretty horrendous that the best play keeps 3 eyes. But, well, vowels are useful in the endgame, so I'm not going to have no options. I would have Vi. Yeah, have I exhausted the X spots on the board? I have Nix. Well, I don't. Big's not good. Well, let me just scan down in case there's a hot X spot I've missed. No, I'm not seeing it. Can I set one up? Well, I don't think so. The remaining tiles are super balanced. I'm going to go with Axe. So, the bag is empty. I can see what opponent's got. Does he have a bingo? He has try-sail. Does that play anywhere? Wow, and I think Raup takes an S, so maybe opponent was hoping for a bingo, but try-sail doesn't have any anagrams. What about a bingo with the T? Well, it would need to begin with the T, and I'm not seeing it, so I don't think he does have a bingo, and he trails by 39. I have 6 vowels and an N, which isn't great. But is it enough to hang on? So I do have Vi for 18. And when you're trying to hang on to a lead, that's a handy number of points. The opponent has the option of trying to engineer an out in 2, so I may only get 1 more score. I still don't have anything to go after F or in front of BI. Fortunately, I have 7 minutes, so I do have some thinking time. I have an A for jar, and an E for E-day. So I have AE. Opponent could play Sty and Maze for 36 points. Wow. And then could he go out with Rail? He would have Trail. Gosh. So is that going to come down? And does he perhaps have something even better? Right, he's played Vly for 27. I lead by 12. Opponent's got 5 1-point tiles, so he's got tiles in column 5. 17 points. Is that going to be enough for him? I don't think I can block that. So what was I thinking of? AE here for 16 points. Opponent would get 10 on count back. So 16 for 16. Opponent would get 10. 398. He would need to score 18 to draw, 19 to win. Can he do that with stare? 19 to win. Let me just check the maths in column 5. 10, 17. Nothing in row A. Traits in row B, doesn't score 19. He does have a T for, and an S for Fs. So does he have something big in column 4? So he could play rats. 29. That's probably going to be enough for him. Unless I've got some good score with what I have here. And I don't think I do. 5 minutes on my clock. So column 4 is the only good scoring spot that I've spotted for my opponent, except he would have column 15 if I don't play AE for 27 points, which is fairly similar. Nothing that I've got goes after Raup. Now, are there any lanes I haven't considered? Just 2 minutes on my clock. No, I'm not seeing anything better than AE. So I'm expecting opponent to play in column 4. And then I don't think I have a big enough play to outrun opponent. But I have 2 minutes to look for one. Opponent down to his last 10 minutes, so he's not just making an outplay, so I do expect him to at least find column 4. Yep, there we go, 29 points. He's left with just the R. He can play AR. Does he have a second out? He can play rag. So I trail by 1. Wow, only 1. Interesting. So 1 minute on my clock. What's the absolute best opponent can do with his R? Refs for 8. So it's refs for 8. So does rain win? I trail by 1. If I get 11, I'll be 10 up. Opponent gets 8 and 2. We'll draw. So can I eke out 1 more point somewhere? I need 12 to win. Less than 1 minute. Nothing in that spot I've just considered. Wow, just 11 points. That's all I need. And I can't find it. What did I say Lynn scored? 12, but it burns 1 fewer tile, so it's not as good as rain. Okay, I'm going to have to play rain. I've run out of time. And I think opponent has to play refs, and then we draw. And he's got 9 minutes to find it, so he surely will. Ah, he's got racks for 10. Ah, agony. Agony, agony, agony. And the final score, 427 for me, 431 for my opponent. A winning margin of 4 points, so well done to my opponent. Let's see what I missed. Wow. What a game. So close. Was there a better out sequence for me than A and rain? Gosh. Okay, so it was me to go first. And I thought about Qua, preferred changing. Opponent's rack. Plays core. And now I have Quant for 47, which looks fine. Opponent plays Zep. And now what do? I play Fog for 18. Yeah. There are a few more points available, but the rack leaves are worse. Great rack for opponent. Plays Colas. And this was a tricky rack. I play Lame for 22. May scores 5 more, but keeps a duplicate tile, so I prefer my play. Opponent plays Vago. And now I get a bingo, be Slime, but D Limes N2 was available, and that would have been slightly better. D Limes, wow. Doesn't ring a bell, but it's good. Opponent's rack plays Hurrah. And N2 Bediga. Yeah, I thought about Bediga. Then opponent played Hurrah, and I turned my attention to the bottom row and played Budo for 8 fewer points. So is Age 8 points better than you? Probably not, but it definitely is a better rack leave. You, I think, is worth -5 or -6, and Age, I would say, must be close to being positive, say maybe +1. So there could be a 6 or 7 point difference and only an 8 point difference in score. So I prefer the play with the better rack leave. Plus Budo takes out row O as a spot for opponent. Great rack for opponent, has a couple of bingos, neither of which plays. Pivoter and Overtip. Plays Price. This was a rack I struggled with. I13. Danger. And I think that's the spot. I played Dang, but higher up. Yeah, not much between those plays. Opponent plays Teen. And now I have Conji for 40, and that looks fine. Opponent plays Void. Phew, no miss bingo here. And I played Doe for 28. I could have played the S for an extra 9 points. And given that this isn't an S-friendly board, that may have been worth doing. But I think it's a very finely balanced, and the S doesn't only exist at the end of words, so I think I'd rather keep it. Opponent's rack plays Raup. And now I have Bestrewn for 66. Bestrewn. Coming through the R, also available, and Bestrewn in the same spot. Yeah, so Bestrewn, where I played it, scored the most, but slim pickings elsewhere. And at this point, I have a 20-point lead with 6 tiles in the bag. Opponent plays Tift, and here we go. I trail by only 5. I have Axe for 44. Vax for 39. Interestingly, if I'd played Vax, I would have stopped opponent playing Vlai for nearly 30. Playing off the same tiles. And although opponent could have played the A in column 13, what's the best he could have done there? YA? Only 26 points, so maybe Vax would have been better, or Vex, retaining the A for batch. But Axe doesn't look terrible. And none of these other plays look great. So it is what it is. Opponent doesn't have an out, plays Vlai. And now I am leading by 12 points. Opponent's got only 5 tiles. Could I win? D1 NEE. Oh, wow. Scoring 16. Well, no, that doesn't assist because Neff takes an S, so opponent would still have had his column 4 play. I'm not seeing anything great here. Let's Examiner 1 not currently available. So do leave a comment below if you can see a better end sequence than this one. F15 AE, that's my play. Yeah, and now opponent's rack. Could go out, but for only 17, that's not going to be enough. So opponent plays 8s. And now, moment of truth. I trail by 1, but opponent has got a 10-point play in racks. Can I win? D1. Wow, interesting. I play rain for 11. NE for 14 is better, but only by 1 point. So if I get 14, I'm on 430. Opponent gets 6 on countback, 423. Yeah, opponent still wins. So I didn't have a win at this point, but possibly I did when I played AE. And finally, opponent has racks for 10. So what a game. So close at the end, and a really tricky end game to contemplate. I still don't know if there was a win available for me, but in any event, many congratulations to opponent on his victory, and thanks to him for a great battle. I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.